When you have a history of greatness, the real challenge starts after the finish line. When victory alone isn't enough, you chase something greater, no matter how difficult the path. On the dirt, in the sand, and beyond. The new 2024 Ridgeline Passport and Pilot, part of our most rugged trail sport lineup yet. From Honda.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Bayou Time Sports. I'm Martin Falls, and we're going to bring on the head coach of Nicholls State University, who just recently announced that he would not be returning at the helm for Nicholls State University, and that's Coach Tim Rebowe. And let's bring Coach Rebowe on. Coach, always great to see you. I got to be honest. I guess I was surprised and not surprised all at the same time because you put in so many good years and the way things have changed in college football. I was thinking to myself last night, my God, how do they keep up with everything? It is really just an amount of work that is unbelievable. But first of all, thank you for your years at Nicholls State. You put in some great years. You've had some great accomplishments. You've had some conference championships along the way, some playoff appearances along the way. You've had much success. So thank you very much. We appreciate you being here.
Good, Martin. Thanks for having me, man. It's been quite a run. 38 years in this business. 10 years for the second stint at Nicholls as the head coach. It was a good run. There's a lot of good people, a lot of hard work, and it was fun. But, you know, you get into this business, you never know when it's going to end. You never know when it's going to be a calling to maybe get out, go do something else. But I just thought it was time. It was time for some new blood. The landscape of college athletics has changed tremendously the last couple of years, and we were just ready.
Yeah, and you've had a lot of success. You had that FBS win, and that really infused the program. You've had a lot of firsts over there, and I think you made it easy for players, and I'm not saying it was an easy process, but you made it easy for them to understand, hey, we can win a conference championship at Nicholls State University. You sort of changed the moxie of the players. You changed the attitude of the players. I know that does not come easy. It comes with a lot of work. But first of all, what was that success based off of? What kind of system or formula did you bring with you from the past, or was it something that evolved along the way?
Well, I think as always, we talk as coaches, you always borrow things from everywhere that you've been, and you learn how to do certain things and how not to do certain things. And we came in here in 2015 with a plan, with a vision that we thought we could have some success with, and hard work and doing it with good people and staying positive. And that's what happened. And then all of a sudden, you get the right people in, you put them in the right places. I try not to micromanage the coaches. I owe so much to the early coaches and the staff that came with us and laid the foundation along with the players and laid the groundwork. And we started having some success, and some guys had bought in to see that you can have some success here in Thibodaux, Louisiana. And that was part of the plan, Martin, from going way back when I was here the first time is, hey, you can do it. You can do it the right way. You can do it with a lot of local players, and you can win at this level.
You know, 18, 19, and 23, you had championships. But I think the thing that struck me the most about you, and I think a lot of people would agree, is you weren't one of those coaches that just said, all right, I'm the big coach here. I'm going to do things this way. You were just one of the guys. I mean, I think most reporters would say the same thing when they went sit down with you. You were just always so open and transparent and maybe real. Real's the word I'm looking for. And I think that's something that you kept pretty real throughout your career at Nicholls State University. I don't think you changed much.
Well, I think it goes back to it's a people business, and that's how you got to operate. And I think in any type of business, that's how it should be. And we were true to who we were. And I thought, getting the first time head coaching job, I was always taught until you got to be yourself. You can't be somebody, try to be this coach or try to be that coach. You just have to be yourself, and that's what we've done. But the people also, Martin, have been so good to the area, not just in Thibodaux, the whole community, the whole region. They just opened their arms up to us and accepted all the coaches, all the players. The support was overwhelming, and that made the job a lot easier also.
When we talk about Nicholls State, and you alluded to the fact, and so did I, that you taught people how to win or that they could win at Nicholls State. And we all know that being in a smaller community with a college has its ups and its downs. But y'all found a way. And I say this because it took a couple of athletic directors. It took a couple of presidents along the way. I won't give anybody the blame or the credit along the way, but y'all found a way to make it sort of cool to come to Nicholls State. And you were able to get athletes that could have played at a lot of other schools, but I don't know what's it like for Tim Rebowe to be on a recruiting mission, but you must have a hell of a pitch because you got some great athletes over the years and you sold them on Nicholls and it paid off, but you also developed a lot of players that maybe people had given up on and you brought them to another level.
I think that was the big key. As an early staff, we got in here and said, again, I alluded to about recruiting local high school players. We had a good reputation with all the high school coaches. We found the right guys that were a good fit, and our coaches did develop them. I do remember this too, Martin, going in the early days, with the Nicholls logo on your shirt. Was not too receptive. That was not a lot of the guys' first choices and where they wanted to go. And proud to say after a couple of years, we turned that around. And, we joke about the stores would start having merchandise of Nicholls and Nicholls football that they were selling. And it made us feel good. And now a measure of respect when you walked into the schools and you walked into those places because of what some of the success we had early and the results that they saw on TV. It was cool. As you say, it was cool to have Nicholls logo and Nicholls gear and come play for the Colonels.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll have some more segments with the former. Can we say former now? Are you officially retired, or you still got some work to do?
I still got some work to do. I haven't even applied for retirement yet.
Well, we're gonna still call you the coach until you packed up and you're in Key West somewhere on a sailboat or whatever. But we'll do this. We'll take a break. We'll come right back with Coach Tim Rebowe. Don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, and welcome back to Bayou Time Sports. We're with Coach Tim Rebowe of Nicholls State, who has announced that he will not be returning as football coach at Nicholls State University. And, Coach, I've got to ask this question because I'm thinking, last night, after someone told me this was going to go down, I'm thinking to myself, how does a guy like Tim Rebowe, and I know your energy, and I know your commitment to recruiting, and I know once you get players in that you really want to keep them and develop them and make them part of the family. But with the NIL today, it seems like people are trading left and right, and they're moving around and the identities are changing so fluidly. That's got to drive a guy like you plumb crazy.
I think obviously the landscape has changed so much in college football and college athletics, and having to put a roster together and constantly recruit your own players that's on your team has gotten very, very difficult. We used to have a lot of pride in going to the school and going down the Bayou and going in the river parishes and going to Baton Rouge and find that diamond in the rough and find that guy that they said couldn't play. And then all of a sudden you got him on your team, you develop him, he becomes a star. And now all of a sudden he has a little success and people are taking him off your roster. Now that's not just at Nicholls, that's happening everywhere. And it has changed the game. It's become very, very difficult. So, that's one of the things you better be able to accept it. You got to be able to do it. I think in the next couple of years, and Martin, I don't think it's just with NIL. It's the transfer portal. It's guys that can leave at any minute and go to another school and not have a consequence. It's kind of taken away, I think, a little bit of guys having to fight through some adversity and some tough times when things don't go your way, to put up a little bit of a fight and get your way through it. And I think we've lost some of that.
Yeah, I think you're right. The NIL deals with their image. They sort of market themselves to be the man, the myth, the legend. But you're right, that transfer portal, it did Nick Saban in. I mean, he's been very vocal about it. And does it not allow you as a coach, you really got to watch how you coach your players, because if you coach them too hard, boom, they might put themselves on the transfer portal. But some people love discipline. Some players don't like it. So I guess you're walking on eggshells, right?
Well, I don't think totally, and I think you still got to be able to coach, and you still have players who want to be coached hard, who want to do the right things on and off the field. And I think what happens, and I've said this a couple times, if you just talk in general numbers, the majority of your team wants all of the things that you talk about. Sometimes it's a select few, but that's the voice that gets heard the loudest. Is some of those ones. So we don't have a ton of them that are transfer. We don't have a ton of them that want NIL money. We don't have a ton of them that don't want to be coached hard. But those are the ones that seem to be put in the spotlight. The majority of the guys, want to be at Nicholls because this is where they want to be. So sometimes they get a little bum rap for that. But there's a little bit of truth to it also.
Yeah. Your successor, of course, very well, and you've seen him come up the ranks with you. And I know you're happy that there's going to be somebody who's put in the time with you that's going to get a shot.
I think across the board that every coach has a guy on his staff that's his right-hand man, so to speak, his right hand that does everything. And that's Tommy Ryebeck. And he's been here from the beginning for 10 years. There's also a couple other coaches on the staff that were here also. But maybe don't fit the mold as to be the next head coach or to have the qualities that it takes to do that. Besides being loyal, which is, one of the big traits we talk about in this business, he was the right guy for the job. He's the right fit for the job that we talked about. He's so smart. He's so well-rounded. He's a pleasure. He relates to the players. I think it was a perfect hire instead of going outside of the structure of what we had here. And sometimes you have to go outside the structure. I'm not saying that's always a bad thing, but not when you got a guy right here in your backyard who knows the issues here in Thibodaux, who knows the issues of this program, of FCS. He knows everything. So I think he's going to be the right guy for it.
Yeah, I can understand if your program was just terrible and didn't do well. Yeah, you go outside, but y'all have had some great success, and y'all brought Nicholls to a lot of different heights throughout the years. So if it ain't broke the system, then why fix it? I guess that's sort of the thing, right?
Yeah, and I think I go back and my main thing is I want to help Tommy with some things that I could help him with, but I also want to get out of his way and let him do. And I remember when I took over for a very successful coach at one time and became the head coach. You still want to implement, you still want to keep the things that help you be successful, but you also want to implement some of your own things. You want to, put your own stamp on it, so to speak. And I think Tommy's a smart enough guy that he knows, hey, they talked about the good stuff that we did. He wants going to continue, and stuff that he didn't like, that didn't work. He's going to be ready to make a change and put it in the right direction.
When we come back, I want to talk to Coach about, first of all, what's his plans for the future. I know he wants to enjoy a different life. I'm sure family has a lot to do with that. And we'll talk about some of his more memorable moments as being the head coach of Nicholls State University. Don't go away. It's right after the break. We'll be right back. Social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, we are back with Coach Tim Rebowe, who has announced he will not be returning as the coach of Nicholls State University, and certainly just across the board. Coach Rebowe, well loved in this community, well loved in the media, just ran a pretty doggone good program, impeccable integrity, leaves it in good shape for somebody coming up. And Coach, just if we had to pick a handful of things, your most memorable moments as the head coach of Nicholls State University, what would be on the top of your list?
I'm going to have to go way back 10 years ago to that first victory. We were so close, Martin. There was a long losing streak the year before we got here. We lost the first 5 games, and I thought we had a chance to win like 2 of those games. We were so close. We let it slip away. So when we came home and we got our first victory here against Houston Christian, against all the work and all the hard work, and to seeing the looks on those guys' faces that, hey, we can do it, it is going to work, that's got to be right up on top of the list.
Yeah, and I know you beat a high-powered Kansas team, but I can recall, even in a loss, that Georgia game, y'all were oh so close, but didn't that really show people right there that, hey, we can play?
Yeah, I think it did, and I think it put us on the map. And we've had a lot of people tell us, you talk about advertisement and how you buy advertisement, how you put your brand out there, and I think it has been said, and we talk about it for that 3 hours on Saturday, what we did in Georgia Stadium, kind of put Nicholls back on the map and made so many people proud, that, alumni and people across, you're getting calls for the things that you've done, and that, hey, you're doing things the right way. And, Kirby Smart, we were talking about that the other day. We talked after the game, and just the respect that he had for us. That's got to be up there when you go into those big stadiums and you can play on that stage at that level.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What are you going to do? Have you made a plan? Obviously, a lot of thought went into this, but the other part of the obviously is you must have some kind of plan of what you want to do with the rest of your life.
Yeah, one of the things that in this business, I guess sometimes you don't get to go out on your own terms. And I think that's one of the things that's kind of intriguing about this is I'm still young enough, still healthy enough, and still to go out and see. Some people say, Martin, there is life after football. I think I'm fixing to find that out. Some of the things, you still having some friends are calling you and say, hey, man, you're going to be bored to death. What are you going to do? Well, I want to try that a little bit. We haven't had a fall off in 38 years. Maybe see what it's going to be like the next couple months. I know this. I am going to enjoy time with the family. My daughter just had our second grandchild, so I'll be able to spend some time and do that. Maybe travel a little bit, and I guess I want to see what some of the golf courses look like around the area in the state. Maybe we can get on them a few times.
There's no doubt. And the championships that have gone along with it, and a lot of people said, well, yeah, maybe maybe Nicholls can win or a few games here and there, but you showed a lot of people that you could win at Nicholls State University, and you brought with it many conference championships and some playoff wins. So I know you're proud of that.
Yeah, and I always said this too. It starts at the top, and we've had good administration that understood what athletics and especially football does to a community and does to a campus. Of course, my best friend is athletic director Jonathan Terrell. Did a great job, but I want to go back in a little bit. And Rob Bernardi was the AD, and when he hired me here. I spoke to him and thanked him for bringing us to Thibodeau. Matt Rohn was the next AD who did a great job, and of course JT. That's probably bittersweet having your best friend as your boss and telling him that you're no longer going to be here. But I told we had a head coaches meeting today too, Martin, and I told him that I love this place. We love this community. Nicholls State University has been so good to us. I owe this place a lot, and it'll continue to be. And this is where we're going to make it our home.
I know one thing: whenever Coach Rebowe is announced at Nicholls State University at any event, you will be just cloaked with a bunch of clapping and cheers. You've been a great success. You've been a class act, and we want to thank you, and we appreciate what you've done. And good luck in everything you choose in the future, Coach.
Martin, I want to thank you too, and HTV has been there from the beginning, and you've been an ally. We go way back to the first stint being around here. We talked about that, and then just all the media. Everybody's been so good to us because in today's age, that it can turn on you pretty quick. But I thank everybody, and I truly respect the job that y'all do.
Well, we respect you, and we thank you for your time, and good luck, Coach, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Martin.
All right, Coach Tim Rebowe. He won't be back next year, but something tells me he will have a watchful eye on the Nicholls program. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more. Social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bourke, know your rights.